Hello and welcome back to the Kid Creators team. We're kids, making resources for teachers and parents to pass on to other kids. In this scratch coding tutorial, we'll be learning how to create and use lists, which are essential in understanding more advanced programming concepts. It's best if you know variables before lists, as lists use methods variables use, and they're similar. If you're stuck or struggling to understand something, ask below in the comments. If you have a question about KCT, the same goes. Alright, let's get into it. So here we are in the Scratch project player, and here we have Peter. And if you don't know what Peter is, who Peter is, watch our previous video on variables, and then come back to this video. Now if we start the project and drag next Peter's list, oh wow, there's a list inside of Peter. Before he was storing a bunch of numbers, but now we have a list on screen. Just like variables, this stage can show lists. Now, how do we add items to this list? It's currently empty. Well, if we press space, it will cause Peter to add something to this list for us. So if we press space, he's asking us to add something to the list. Let's input 5 like we did before. There we go. Now there's 5 in this list. Now the list has a 5 in it, but it's in the first place. There's a little 1 beside it. If we add something else, that's the second place. Lists are like mega variables. They can store a ton of values, but each value has a number associated with it. That's pretty cool. Let's see inside and let's see how we make and use lists. Now, you're going to actually have to go to this project in the link in the description below, and you're going to have to see inside and select this green remix button. Okay, now you have a remix. So this make a list button in this variable section, make a list. This can make a list if we click on it. There's a few options. Just like variables, we can make it for the sprite only, just like this. Meaning that only the sprite that we're making the list on, that's currently selected, can view or change its values, or for all sprites, which means that all sprites can see and change its values. And we also need to name the list. Now let's take a look at the list blocks. So there's a lot of lists here. There's a lot of list blocks. I'm going to give us some space here. The first block is add something to Peter. Now, if we just take this over here and drag, we take this over here and drag Peter, the container off, Peter the list will show. Now, clicking on add thing to Peter will add something to Peter, and we can actually change this value. We can add 5 to Peter. And we can actually have a delete 1 of Peter. If we add 5 to Peter, if we add 3 5s to Peter and delete 1 of Peter, as you can see, the first one will be deleted. For example, if we add 12 to Peter, then we add 4, and then we have another 4, and we delete the first one, 12 is gone because there's a number associated with each one. So there's 4 and 4 now. Next there's delete all of Peter, which deletes every single thing. If I just completely spam this and I click delete all, as you can see, everything's gone. Now there's a very interesting block. It's insert thing at 1 of Peter. Now I can insert the number 5, and I'm going to add 3 4s to Peter. Actually, I'm going to add 2 4s to Peter, and I can insert 5 at 2 of Peter. So now, below, in the place 2, 5 is inserted. Now we can replace item 1 of Peter with 7, say. So now, instead of 4, it'll be 7. And you can just show and hide the list Peter. We're actually using these blocks here in the program. Next are these reporter blocks. First, this is item 1 of Peter. It tells us the first item of the list Peter. Then it's item number of thing in Peter. Currently this is 0 since thing is nowhere in the list. But if we add thing to Peter, item number of thing is 4 because thing is in the 4th place. Length of Peter, that tells us how long it is. And this is really interesting. This is our this is our Boolean block. It says Peter contains thing. It does. But if Peter contains flugel, it doesn't. There's no flugel in Peter. So that's basically just the blocks. Now we can see the options for list. Right-clicking on the list will bring in 2 options, import and export. I'm going to import a list that I've already done right now. So there we go. And as you can see, ahead of time. This is a test list already written ahead of time because I've already written this and I just imported this. You can also right-click on this list and select export, and that'll export it as a text document or a CSV. Okay, so now you know about lists. Great job. If you're confused about any of the topics presented to you in this video, comment down below. We'll try our best to answer. Subscribe to the channel for more great resources and turn on that notification bell. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video. Stay creative.